Good evening, everyone. Let us wait a few minutes for the rest of you all to join. Then let us start as soon as possible. Meanwhile, please ask your friends and everyone to join. Good evening. I already see the energy in the crowd. So let us start by 5 5. Meanwhile, please ask everyone to join. Hi. Um, Good evening, everyone. Once again, very warm welcome to all the students present here. So, on behalf of BharatCares and IBM SkillsBuild, I am delighted to welcome you to the special online masterclass celebrating World Youth Skills Day 2026. Today is more than just a celebration here. It's a reminder that in a world changing faster than ever before, skills are the real superpower of this future. And that's exactly what today's session is all about. So, as already mentioned, today is World Youth Skills Day. World Youth Skills Day is celebrated every year on 15 July to recognize the importance of empowering young people with the skills needed to thrive in a rapidly evolving world. Established by the United Nations General Assembly in 2014, this day highlights the critical role of technical, vocational, and digital skills in improving employability, fostering entrepreneurship, and preparing youth for the future of work. So, today, as industries are being reshaped by AI, automation, emerging technologies, the ability to continuously learn and adapt has become more important than ever before. So today, World Youth Skills Day reminds us of our collective responsibility to equip our generation with the knowledge, skills, and mindset needed not just to participate in the future, but to lead it. And what better to celebrate this day than by exploring one of the most transformating technologies of our time, that is AI, and its impact on careers and opportunities for young professionals. Okay. So Today, what we'll do is that we have an exciting and future focused session planned ahead for all of you here. So, firstly, we'll understand on how AI is reshaping industries and redefining careers across the globe. Then we'll go to understand which are the top skills for young professionals here. Then we'll have a live demo. So you can have a practical showcase of powerful AI tools that can enhance productivity, creativity, learning. Then learning on how AI can become your career companion and accelerator than your competition. And finally, you will have the opportunity to ask all the questions and share perspectives and engage directly with our expert speaker. So keep your curiosity alive, your notebooks ready, and everything ready. We are moving on to a session. So now it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's masterclass, Mr. Naveen Pratapaneni. With an impressive 24 years of industry experience, including leadership roles across IBM Research, IBM Cloud Analytics, Smarter Cities, Cloud Engineering, and Generative AI Solution, Mr. Navin brings a unique combination of technical expertise and practical industry insight. He is an accomplished generative AI and agentic AI architect, an IBM recognized speaker, educator, and mentor, and has contributed extensively to innovation through patents, publications, and technology leadership initiatives. Beyond technology, he is deeply passionate about empowering young minds and has mentored thousands of students through various educational and industry initiatives. We are truly privileged to have him with us today to share his perspectives on AI and the future of work. So, everyone, please, with that, let's get started. Over to you, sir. Uh, let's get started, sir. Welcome, Mr. Naveen Pratapaneni.
Hey, thanks, Aarti. I was on mute, sorry. So thanks for the quick intro. And I'll take over. I think I have a presentation right, I believe now. Good evening, everyone, and very glad and excited to connect with you all for this remote session. I hope as a intro session, you will gain some kind of knowledge on the industry trends and what is happening in the industry and where actually how you need to plan your career. Okay, so that's the focus of today's session. I'm sure, like what my understanding is, you are all graduates, maybe completing your graduation, either engineering or non-engineering background. So keeping that in mind, I try to set the content in a way that how you can plan your careers leveraging the current AI trend. And also, Aarti, I have given three questions for poll. Maybe you can start and let me know. Just put it in the uh, chat or dashboard about the results. I'll refer to that. Let me share my screen. Oh, this is a poll. Okay, let me. So let me know if you are able to see my screen. Aarti, I hope my screen is visible. Yeah. So I'll skip this because Aarti has given an introduction already. Let me go to the next slide. So I just want to spend my minute time here on the Mind, which is one of my program which normally I run at government colleges in Telangana and AP. So I strongly believe that these are the five dimensions which are pretty much critical for you being an fresh graduate or coming out of college to enter into a corporate sector or find out your own ways of doing something, either as an entrepreneur or doing a job or going further studies. So if you look at the dimension here, one is digital learning. That is where we are focusing today. What are the aspects that you need to know to plan your career, aligned to the technology trend as well as the market needs. So that is where IBM platform like SkillsBuild is going to help, where you can fill the gap on your own, and also with some kind of remote mentoring or guidance from these kind of sessions, you can fill that gap and you can be prepared for the market. And apart from that, you also need certain soft skills. You might have heard about soft skills, which in SkillsBuild platform also we have certain courses which focus on the skills which are professional skills which are required for you to get into a job market. And of course, I've added other skills because part of the program, we try to help in improving the communication skills through spoken English classes. That's where I put external. Then the second dimension is mentor interaction. That is also a critical aspect in this program. So where you need to have a mentor interaction so that the direction what you're taking, whether you're going in the right path or any kind of changes required or any gap that you need to fill, that's where mentor is going to help. So you can find out as a primary mentor is going to be your faculty or somebody from the team whom you are interacting now. So they're going to help in bridging that gap, like connecting us from IBM, where maybe a short session, but you still it's going to help you to put your questions forward and get some clarification. Some may be answered during the session, some may not be. Then you can follow up and ask questions here. Then the conversation skills, that is also key aspect because what is that a corporate expect when you're taking, when they're hiring you? So we'll cover that in the subsequent chapters. I'll along with the other dimension which I'm talking about, interview facing skills. So what is that you need to prepare for interview? For an interview? Is there a technical answering a technical aspects or maybe a screening test? Is that enough? Okay. What are the other things that you need to know? Okay. And then the counseling session, some level of career guidance. This normally we cater to the students which are in government colleges, and also self-assessment. So that is very key to assess yourself where you are and what improvement is required. So I'll bring these aspects when I'm covering the next few aspects, the technology aspects, also the skill build. Let me move into the next slide. So I'll just place one or two small, maybe I think 2 minutes videos. These are, I mean, these are pretty old. In fact, like this video is, I believe, 6 years old or 7 years old video, but still it is relevant here.
An amazing venue. My name is Mira, and I am a humanoid powered by IBM Watson. I am honored and delighted to be here at the Oxford Union tonight.
Where are you from?
I was built by a French company called Aldebaran Robotics, and I am powered by IBM's cognitive technology platform Watson.
What has Watson enabled you to do?
Watson is helping me learn in ways that I could not.
Yeah, I'm just skipping that because basically you might have seen already either Sophia or any other robot where you can get into conversation. So there are few aspects in terms of AI. One is understanding what you're talking about, and also there's a media there, like it's a voice-based interaction. Okay, and robot is able to understand your the voice, and it is interpreting and it's giving answer to that. Let me show you another video.
Needs. Is that a thing? I'm just waiting here. There should be someone called Ollie coming to pick me up. Ollie?
Hello, James.
Who's that?
It's me, Ollie. Please have a seat.
Right. Where's the driver?
I'm the world's first cognitive, self-driving shuttle. And I'm electric. I'm the future of travel.
Is this your only voice? Can you do any other voices? Can you do a Tennessee accent?
Hey, y'all. Who wants grits?
I mean, honestly, I don't always trust my driving. Why would I trust a computer?
Because I don't drink, text, or get tired.
So how do you flirt with other buses if you don't text? Was that your laugh? Thanks so much, Ollie. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this a small clip. So this is, you might have already those who are doing in mechanical or other streams, you might have seen the connected cars. Okay, so a combination of AI and IoT, so where the sensors are going to play a role in doing the autonomous self-driving cars. Okay, so what brand right now has these kind of cars? Can anyone tell like which brand is manufacturing these cars? You can put it in chat. Okay, it's, I don't know, you got a Tesla, right? Yeah. So Tesla is already on the in manufacturing these autonomous cars, but again, it depends on the terrains or the driving patterns in the country. In India, it is little bit, it'll take time, but in other countries where there is a I mean patterns and driving patterns based on that, and also the road conditions, and also how the intersectors and all those things. These connected cars. This demo is also the airport shuttle. It is not the complete cab taxi, but it's an airport shuttle. Okay, where you can get into and drop into some kind of terminal between terminals. Those experimentation. Again, this video is I believe it is 7 years old video, but now there's a lot of improvement in terms of how these sensors are going to work with IoT, some kind of hub, and also the transmissions, and also the car, how it is going to operate. Those all those things are a little bit, lot of changes, in fact, not little bit. Okay, so let's come to the session with that little lights breaking kind of clips. So the agenda slightly, the order is different when what Amrita has shared. But more or less it will cover all the aspects. So let's look into the technology trends. What is happening, and from the technology perspective. So you might have seen or aware of the Gartner technology trends curve. I'll show you few aspects of that and where we are heading, and how you need to be prepared to face those changes, and what are the disruption. There are some disruption, but not in the recent, but last 5 years within your career, I mean generation, what currently you might have seen some kind of technology disruption, how it is changing the industry and the way the industry is working. Then also I'll start with little background about the cognitive era, how it is started, especially from IBM point of view, and where we are right now. And from career readiness, when it comes to that, what are the three, or the, I mean, we talk about, even if you look into IBM Skill Build, there are three areas which are you need to understand. One is what technology skills you need to know, okay, and way of working, and for workforce readiness to work with a company, what is that you need to have, okay. And as part of the demo, I'll show Bob, which is an IBM tool, which will help in accelerating the SDLC, software development lifecycle, how to quickly build an application using prompts or different aspects of AI and generative AI, and how to test it. Those aspects I'll try to show. Okay. Give me a second. Yeah, so I'll show three technology trend graph. One is platform engineering, where the foundation for AI. You can look into the curve here on the top. Like some of you might have seen this already. You can see the color coding here. The white one is going to stay for maybe 1 to 2 years. The hype, what you're seeing is this part. When I say hype, Yeah, this part I'm talking about. Okay, and how long they're going to stay? Maybe 2 years, less than 2 years, and you can see blue 2 to 5 years, and black is 5 to 10 years. And maybe there's a triangle here, right? Greater than 10 years. Okay, so you can see AI governance or AI application development and AI agents. Already, it's in the hype. I mean, the curve hype. And what are the FinOps also is one area. Okay, AI engineering. Okay, and you can see these are in blue color, all what I just spoke to talk about, highlighted. So these are going to be like next 2 to 5 years already it started, and maybe next 2 to 3 years they are going to have reached the maturity curve. It's not like they are going to fall or the technology is not going to be obsolete. That's not the understanding here, but they are going to achieve some kind of maturity, stability. Matlab, everywhere in application development, now the AI agents are going to be there. Okay, you're already seeing the trend. Okay, it's not like earlier case where you are going to develop a application for a bank, which is going to be a 6 months duration to develop a customer facing portal to provide some value add services rather than the core banking. Let's assume that. Okay, so that's a 6 months where the 30% effort is for testing and requirement gathering and putting into the environment setup, all those things is going to be 15-20%, and remaining so 20 or 30, 50% is going to be development effort. So where in the recent trends, I mean, not recent, maybe more than a decade or 20 years, 2 decades. So we are following agile, right? It's not like a traditional waterfall. It's going to be more of an agile methodology where you split the application development into smaller units and you try to deliver in shorter cycles so that the feedback is going to be received at the early stage, and any feedback it's easy to incorporate when you are at the early stage rather than build the entire application where I don't know how many of you recollect there is a image on SDLC where customer says something that he need a ladder, something like this. But what the development team is going to envisage is different. What the testing team is going to envisage is different. Finally, what is delivered is different. A tree with some kind of jula. Okay, so I'll show you maybe during the break. I'll pull out the image and show you. So to avoid that, Agile is going to help to fail fast. In fact, especially when you're working on new technology, there will be a lot of experimentation or proof of technology validation. All those things are going to be part of that. So that's where when we talk about the disruption, those things need to be considered here. So now let me move to the other slide, which gives um, a different perspective. I'll skip this architecture part. Let me go to the agentic part. This is the technology, I mean, hype, Gartner hype cycle for agentic AI. So you can see on the top curve and the peak, you can see the context graphs. So which are just evolving. Still, they didn't come to the maturity stage. And you can see governance is one thing, and then enterprise level AI assistants, security, and analytics. Multi-agents are matured. I mean, little bit. You can see we are seeing that some of the multi-agent systems already in place. And coding agents, yes, of course, that's what I'm going to talk about. Talk about Bob, where how you can generate code. You might have seen, some of you might have already experienced with tools like Copilot or Codex kind of thing, which will basically assist you as a code assist, where you ask a question or you highlight some code and see what is wrong, can you reformat, those kind of aspects. So even agentic AI also you can see on the top, okay, in the top of the hype. Okay, it's currently evolving like MCP, okay, and no code agent builders, low code, no code, where you do some prompting and generate the code, and then take argument with the tool to refine that and make it work and deploy, and also make changes. Okay, so keeping this in scenario, like you can imagine, what is the effort which we used to spend earlier and what is the effort which is going to change. But that does it mean that the software developers or software engineers are going to lose jobs? Or Amrita, did you conduct the poll? First question. Can I see the results? Hello. Yeah. Yeah. I hope everyone can see the screen now. How many believe of you believe that AI is going to cut job? Okay, so 58%, almost yes or no. Okay, again, it is subjected to the industry. That's where the second question I try to narrow down to specific industry. Which job field do you think is most at risk being replaced by AI in the next 10 years? Okay, so most of you, 58%, or no, software engineering. Okay, this is more relevant here. Interesting. I guess most of you may be aspiring towards IT careers or something. 64% they mentioned as software engineering career, software engineer jobs are going to be in risk. Okay, yes, maybe it is right, but is it going to cut the job? Again, linking to the first answer, again 58% yes, again 38, 42% no. Okay, so what is that required to mitigate this risk? Yes, there is a risk of risk for some jobs, or maybe most of the jobs which are repetitive. Okay, which can be handled by an autonomous process. Okay, like we have seen car, right? A destination point A to point B, considering, I mean, let's leave the considerations first. Point A to point B, if the vehicle can be controlled using sensors like where to stop and avoiding the traffic, collisions, and also the climatic conditions, whether it can drive or not. Yes, we have achieved because of the integration with the IoT, where devices can be controlled along with data and also the sensor information, which is calibrated to with the system and on the fly, and give some kind of decision making, take some decision making on the fly. Yes, it is proven, and that's where you're saying then driverless cars. Okay, but again, it is subjected to, like I mentioned, the driving patterns and the road conditions, the country level road conditions, and also the civic sense of people. Because you have seen, like in India, if you have two wheeler, then somebody will just in a flash they'll cross you without any signal or any direction. So will this autonomous car can understand that, and maybe proactively can take care of those kind of scenarios? That is the scenario based or some kind of exception based that need to be handled. So possibly it is again based on the learning, and also taking quick decisions. But again, since it is safety aspect is going to be predominantly is going to be the consideration there. That's where the penetration or the adoption is going to be little slow. Okay, whereas in development, the what is the major challenge, especially when you are working with the new technology? So having understanding about the technology, how it works, and also the aspects of development and reusability. Because earlier days, when you're talking about mainframes or some kind of procedural programs, reusability factors are very less. So last 2 decades, maybe be it is Java or even in Python also, there's a lot of reusability aspects have introduced. So we have developed some code. So can we leverage that code rather than writing the code or putting in somewhere? So generate that as a library. You might have seen a class. Okay, so you define a class in Python, and that can be used in another Python. And you also maintain the state of the class where it can be act as an object or some kind of reference in other programs. That reusability aspects are now introduced. That's where you need to know what are the existing libraries or classes or some kind of methods, functions available which you can reuse. Okay, unless there is a documentation published, and also somebody either do a reverse engineering of the existing application and understand either to use this code or make a decision whether, okay, we'll go with the new set of development, because these conditions which are not mapping, where you might be spending a lot of time in debugging the code, making changes, rather developing a new component is going to be more feasible. So in respect of both scenarios, there is a time involved, okay, to develop this or enhance this. So that time is going to be now with the agentic approach. Let's say somebody is going to, like a human, some tool or an agent can understand the code, and agent is expert in, let's say, Python, and also the software development aspects. So considering all these things, it can understand the code and it can generate a new set of code considering the latest patterns. So your effort of 30 or 50% we are talking, it's going to come down to 30%, or 10 or 20%. So what skills you require? You need to have earlier understanding of any programming, and how quickly you can understand that and understand the existing program, how the overall flow is going to be. Okay, and leverage these tools. Like I need to understand what is the prompt. I mean, how to write a prompt. Okay, having basic English understanding, yes, it may work, but you need to know a lot of aspects of the prompt engineering. Okay, how to set a context for the prompt, and maybe I will talk about that. I'll very high level. Note that this is not a training of AI or something. We are more focused on what you need to understand, where you need to focus, what are the resources available, so that you can start with that and take some guidance to fill the gap. Okay, so we're just talking about the prompt, right? Like a few shot training or zero shot training, where some examples, sorry, you're going to specify few examples saying that, okay, this is what the pattern is, understand the pattern, follow the pattern while giving the output. So if you go deeper, I mean, if you need to, you need to have an understanding. This I'll cover in the part. So this we are dealing with generative, and generative, we're dealing with some kind of models which are there earlier also when you talk about machine learning. But you can also see now in generative AI, those are now called foundation models. So these models have some understanding about the knowledge or what we are working, depending on type of model. It has some knowledge, and you can also add some level of training. You can tuning and training so that it will work as per your instruction or what you're looking for. So that's where that level of understanding required, be your computer science graduate or non-computer science graduate, based on the domain that you're working, what opportunities you are going to explore, and where you can tap. Like I'll just give an example. Earlier days, this media industry used to have content writers. Okay, not newspaper, but it can be magazine. It can be, now you're saying, online blogs. So there used to be a lot of content writers who, even if for a company who is going to have a website, they used to engage content writers who will curate the content related to the company, taking the market trends and one second. Yeah, taking the market trends and also some news, and they'll create a good article which may create some kind of interest to viewers. Okay, something is happening and this industry is doing this company is doing good. Those kind of content writing used to be there. Now, with generative AI capabilities, it's all very kind of cakewalk. Okay, so all you need is what information you need to extract. That level of knowledge is required, and how to curate that, giving some instructions. Earlier, I might be gathering all those things, understand this passage, and then identify what topics I need to talk, what topics I need to highlight, what are the significant information which is going to make the reader more interesting and make some kind of market or some kind of orientation to that industry and also that product, let's say. Based on that, this prompting is going to be, I mean, the content is going to be curated and they're going to prepare. So that's why we can see the industry. We talked about IT industry, and you have also, I've also given healthcare. So we have one use case. I'll talk about the healthcare use case. Also, the recent work we have done with software. Like you, how many of you know about labs? So there is a continuous glucose monitor, CGM. Okay, so CGM is basically when you do for diabetic patients, when you do test, there's a pen where a small needle you prickle and get the blood drop and put it in the the measurement device. It's going to calibrate and it's going to test and tell like what is the sugar levels in the blood. But there are two aspects here. You're taking the blood from the um, sorry, there's one. Is there any question in the? Somebody can monitor and let me know if there is some clarification is required. Hindi में बोलिए. Okay. Are you okay, other guys, if I little bit use Hindi? Somebody has difficulty in understanding. Okay, I'll try to mix. This is from somebody Ravina. Okay, so blood ka some like diabetic testing. If you're taking blood from finger, that's where you're going to prickle, and blood you are going to take blood and test it, either through traditional testing where they mix the chemicals and do all these things, or the device, the sensor itself has those calibration capability to do it. And if you take blood from the vein, okay, so this is subcutaneous tissue, okay, the peripheral tissue, and it is from the vein. So there will be some kind of difference in the sugar level because actual blood flow is having actual blood sugar level, but subcutaneous is going to be having some filtration of the blood and maybe little different. So for an ML to figure out what is the deviation between these two results, maybe they take results. Let's say assume I'm taking 10 patients results. 10 times I tested from subcutaneous tissue. 10 times I tested from the vena, from the venous. And when I test both and I understand the deviation from that, maybe it is 2% or 3%. So I might be having some kind of errata or some kind of adjustment factor in the device which I'm calculating. Okay, 3% positive or negative. Okay, but again, subjected to other correlation factors. So see, what I'm talking is in terms of data science language I'm talking about, though the use case is very healthcare specific. So I'm also mentioning about the other factors of the patient. If the patient is obese, patient is above 50 years or maybe certain age, or he might be having other elements like thyroid or BP or something. All these are correlating factors. Okay, there could be some influence of these factors while calculating the sugar levels in the model that I built. Okay, how do I know? Based on the patterns or the sample data which I've taken and also the historical data, and based on that I adjust the factor. Okay, even if we take from subcutaneous or venous, what is the difference that I'm going to calibrate so that it more or less give 99% accuracy. So you might have seen now pervasive, non-pervasive detection of diabetes sugar levels. Non-pervasive means you can touch the sensor and within a minute it determines the sugar levels. There is no need of having blood. How that is possible? Again, the patterns. So here the reason why I'm trying to bit focus on this, technology is changing, but it is not completely changing. There is a prediction model earlier where you're going to consider your patient data, historical data, and also the errata percentage. And based on that, your prediction is happening. Maybe the disruption here is understanding the sensor data and what parameters you need to consider. You might have seen after Corona, oximeters have come where you just need to put your thumb. In many hospitals now, they are putting oximeter. Okay, they are measuring what is the oxygen level. Okay, I hope it's interesting for you, everyone. Let me know. You can put your thumbs up. If you're not, if it is boring, then you can put your thumbs down. Let me know. Okay, so that's the reason the poll is conducted. And when the other question is, how many of you are using AI tools in daily life? Okay, almost 90%. Yes, yeah, probably you might be using this GPT or maybe the Google, I mean the AI Gemini kind of tool. It's good, but learn how to use them effectively. Okay, asking a question is different than how effectively you can get the information. Okay, so remember the question that you're asking is going to burn some trees or papers on the other side. Please make a note of this. Okay, because these ML models or the AI models which are running the LLMs, they're going to have a lot of cooling effect they need because they run on GPUs. The data centers, what you're saying, either Google or IBM or AWS, which are running, a lot of water recycling, and for cooling, they use a lot of water. Okay, so each question is going to, that's where a lot of other aspects also in the industry is working, like caching your the prompt results. Okay, if somebody is asking a question, cache that, and even before running the LLM for other question, maybe having similar pattern, not exactly 100%, maybe some similarity. Can we take something learning or some kind of feedback from the cache so that you don't need to 100% utilize the power of the hardware GPUs to answer this question. Okay, so those are aspects. That means you need to have some DevOps kind of skills. Okay, and also how to understand the cache. Those aspects also important here. Okay, I'm closing this survey window. Okay, let me come back to the hype cycle. So now I hope you have the context of how to understand these aspects of the technology trend, where actually the opportunities are coming into. Okay, it's not like you're going to lose the job, especially for software engineers. You mentioned more than, I think, 70 or 60%, but you need to acquire certain skills. Okay, like earlier days, testing effort is 30%. So even somebody is learning manual testing, they used to get an opportunity. But now there are agents who's going to do the manual testing, web testing automatically. When you're doing a testing on web browser, that is normally a manual testing. When you test it, automatically the browser agent is going to record, and it knows the test case, what need to be evaluated. It automatically end up the scenario. It gives the result where test is failed or passed. Okay, but what you need to know is, okay, so it is failed. What component actually it is giving issue? Why it is failed? Maybe the tool which you are using, Bob or Copilot, it also can determine, okay, the issue is coming from this. But again, going to next level, okay, can I figure out this component is giving issue? What is the code that is giving issue? How can I fix that? Now, I think you might have seen when I argument with the tool, I can also ask what is the code fix I need to provide. Okay, so are we eliminating human in the loop? No, human is still required, because when you are especially modifying the production code, some level of review is required there. Okay, because AI is not going to generate think on its own, right? Whatever training you're giving, the patterns it is applying. So how many of you seen the movie Robo? Not Rajnikant movie. There's another movie, Hollywood movie, Robot, where they start thinking on their own. Okay, so that is where the challenge is going to be. So now we are talking about when you go into deeper into Gen AI or agentic AI, agent to agent communication is also now possible. An agent can pass what it is doing to other agent, and other agent can also react based on that, but it can also react autonomously. You don't need to have a human in the loop confirming that you do this. It can take a call, but again, subjected to the knowledge where the agent is trained or the LLM is trained. Okay, right now it is more of a mimicking stage still, not completely autonomous. Okay, so this is more like an IBM point of view. I'm just giving where the technology is heading and where AI is begin. Like an earlier, somewhere in 90, 1 second. yeah, 2097 to 2000. So IBM has come up the Watson, what we are calling a Jeopardy game, where Watson has won on it's a quiz kind of thing where a system is trained, AI system is trained, where humans also participated, where Watson has won in the Jeopardy. This is in 2011. The same year, IBM has completed 100 years. That's where we celebrated. And earlier, there are for army or intelligence, they used to have some kind of network which is going to have some level of automation here, chess games and other thing. So then continuing that journey, now we are in a stage where we can bring complete autonomous processes, automation of the processes using AI. So now I'll just come to, I mean, I'm going to cover this slide again, but for your interest, I'm just trying to bring up the aspect here. So what technology skills you need to have, or you need to adopt, or you need to know, considering the opportunities. I, I think some students are waiting in the lobby. You may approve them. I'm getting pop-up windows frequently. Okay. So one is AI, which we're talking about. Most of you are aware of this, and some of you are having a specialized branch in your engineering or even normal BSc 3 years of graduation. Also, there are some subjects which are introduced to align with this. And then cloud computing. You might have seen cloud is also one aspect where to optimize the resource usage. So like earlier days, we need to have a big server or some kind of infrastructure need to be there to host your applications, to host the business applications on their own, or in a data center, you put some amount that is called capex, some capital investment, where you need to buy the server and give it to some internet provider who are going to host, and they are going to give services of maintenance. But with the cloud computing, where you can subscribe, or you can you don't need to buy. Basically, you can pay for the services that you're using. Let's say you are trying to use a 10 GPU server for a month. You can only pay for the for the month and for 10 GPU, which may be a couple of hundreds of dollars, rather than paying some 10,000 for buying a GPU based machine with high computing AX mission, or maybe Intel mission, and put it in your data center, where you're going to pay to the data center for the maintenance, and also the outages, fixes that you need to produce, I mean, apply on the system. All those things are taken care at the infrastructure level by cloud computing. So you are aware of that. Okay, then data analytics, how to handle the data, what of the tools. So that's where AI, right? We are seeing data science, a lot of tools available nowadays for to apply the data science techniques, and also the generating insights. And open source software, this is another area where it's widely used, like everything, you don't need to buy a license. Okay, so there are for learning purpose, also for industry, some kind of collaboration consortium. Some people agreed to have a some kind of tools or software which is open source. Matlab, source is available. You can take the code, you can modify, and you can deploy. But there are some terms and conditions you need to oblige, like how you're going to modify, what modifications you're doing, publish those, or get some kind of agreement that I'm going to have my own version. Like IBM Bob is developed on Visual Code. Visual Code, you might have used, everyone almost, like, there's a IDE, development environment, where you can develop Python or web application code, anything which gives all the tooling and environment, all the facilities. So IBM has taken Visual Code one version. On top of that, Bob is developed. And so those are like the open source. I don't want to talk much. And then other areas, cybersecurity is one area. With all this disruption on generative AI, LLMs, AI ethics also going to be very focused. Like when I talk about AI ethics, it's all like a how to bring governance, responsible AI aspects, where you need to understand what is. I mean, there are few aspects which I'll talk about later, like what transparency these models are providing, what resources the model is referring. Okay, how on what resources the model is trained. So that's kind of transparency, and those aspects are going to be part, and some kind of guardrails also going to be there. So those, and also the breaching, all those things as cyber security products are going to take care. And also, of course, we talked about Internet of Things. Okay, for autonomous things, lot of now in next few years you're going to see device automation is going to happen. Your home automation already might have seen. Now instead of the traditional switchboards, you might have seen in somewhere like sensor-based switchboards. Like when you move to the room, then only lights will be on. Okay, when you're there, only fans will get switched off, switched on. Or you can give instructions over voice. Okay, I don't want the fan to be in 5. I want to reduce the heat. You might have seen already with the Google device. Okay, where you say, "Hey Google, can you play this or find out what is in my calendar?" So all are connected using Internet of Things. And then quantum computing, which is now another disruption where it's going to, the computing is going to change the way it is currently working, where the research, I mean, especially for pharma, medicine, and also financial services, a lot of research where they run certain research algorithms or some kind of data processing for so many hours or so many days. That needs a computing environment which can withstand for long, and also having that kind of memory, all those things. That's where the quantum computing is playing a role. So we have started a quantum lab in AP, which is going to generate a lot of opportunities. Again, slightly you need to know how the quantum kit works, what aspects you need to know. Again, maybe the language that you're using may be Python there, but you need to know how to run the models, and what aspects you need to understand. Those aspects you need to understand. Okay, so let's come. I'll bit dive into the AI aspects here for those who are keen to. Can somebody monitor the chat and tell me if anything? Okay, Hindi, Kannada. Sorry, I think we, for the purpose of all audience, we are sticking to English. But if you have any specific, you can ask that aspect. We can cover it then. Maybe I'm leaving 15-20 minutes for a QA. I can explain that in your language, Hindi. I'm not familiar with Kannada. Maybe your team can translate that, or you can capture the answers and you can translate. Okay, so with all we are hearing, AI agents, Gen AI, deep learning, machine learning, right? How are they related? Okay, so the basic things are like AI is there, where some level of I was mentioning, right, mimicking of human intelligence. How, what we are doing, we are learning something. I'll give a very classical example. Please try to understand, because this is applicable everywhere, wherever you go in advanced level. Like if you look at one child, maybe a 3 years old, who just started learning, or just started learning how to speak, like a mother or somebody who is going to be with the kid for whole day, they're going to, I mean, when the kid sees an animal, maybe the mother or somebody will introduce that's a dog. Okay, maybe seeing a puppy, they'll say it's a dog or puppy, or mother dog, they'll say puppy. So then the visualization, the kid will try to visualize that object, and try to understand that, okay, try to remember that it's a dog. Okay, so what is happening here in terms of AI or machine learning? It's visualization. Matlab, you're trying to understand the features. Okay, so your brain is doing feature extraction of that object. Maybe it has 4 legs, and 4 legs on ground, little different from what is seeing in family. And there's a something which is wagging a tail. Okay, and it has 2 ears which are maybe moving frequently. Some imagination. Then when he sees a cat next time, so it's feature extracting one part, and what is happening next? He is remembering that as a dog. Okay, labeling, some level of classification is happening, right? Based on the features, and by seeing the dog, maybe when he sees dog again, we'll come to that. He didn't see the dog first time. He tried to label with the data that he is having. Features extracted, data is labeled, some classification has occurred. So the next step is, one second. What's the time? Next challenge. Okay. Okay, I have a call. Okay. So the next step is when he sees a cat, then he'll say it's a dog. But somebody will correct. No, it's not a dog, it's a cat. So now the feature differentiation. Okay, so what's the difference? Maybe the size is small, or maybe the puppy and cat are same size, but cat is having little fur, and the way it is making sounds are different than puppy. Okay, that's a differentiation. Now, maybe next time also he'll confuse, he'll say puppy as a cat or cat as a puppy. So some more samples are required. When he sees frequently, the reinforcement or maybe more iterations. Okay, so then he'll be able to label it correctly, and the training is happening, right? Your training is happening with multiple samples or with the same sample. Okay, that's where we talk about the accuracy, right? How many times you're recalling the object A as an A, dog as a dog. How many times you're recalling, and how many times you're telling dog as exactly dog, cat as exactly cat. The precision and recall. Okay, so in this example, I'm trying to relate all the aspects here. Okay, that's exactly what is happening in machine learning. You have some kind of algorithms for classification, maybe linear regression or some kind of other algorithms are available. And applying the AI concepts, you're going to generate something. Now, when it comes to deep learning, so the learning aspects are going to be more wider in deep learning because your LSTMs or the layers, CNN layers or RNN layers, you are having lot of data. Okay, that's where your learning need to be more, advanced. That's where your neural networks are going to be helpful here, either it is RNN or CNN, where you're going to have some kind of layers. Okay, so please understand, because I'm trying to bring up the knowledge graphs also here in the later stage. Why do you need knowledge graphs when you're talking about agent AI? How is it going to be relevant here? When your data is huge, the learning data, so some level of layering is required. Otherwise, for everything, you're going to search everything for in the knowledge base, which is going to be very high computing and also time taking. So I'm going to put some hierarchy there. When I try to identify a cat, I know like this is an animal. Okay, maybe some level of other classification, domestic animal. So when I search something, I'll search first based on the environment. It's an animal, and based on domestic animal. In that, I'll try to search the features, map the features. Yes, I might get very close things, two or three, rather than searching the whole world for this dog feature, or maybe a kind of breed of a dog. Okay, so that's where the deep learning is going to come picture. Similarly, in generative AI, the transformer learning, what we are talking about, we are trying to bring a lot of the foundation models, the models which are already trained on certain things, so that you can leverage that foundational learning and add your additional learning on top of that. Your tuning is going to play a role here. That's where you're going to bring up some kind of learning here. 1 second, 1 second. Saujanya, I'll join the call later. I'm in a session. Reschedule the call to 7:15. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. So then what is Gen A? We talk about the three in this Venn diagram. We talk about the three circle which are broader, and now we are left with agents and Gen A. So now if we look at the Gen A has overlap of deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and some part AI and agents also going to be there. Gen A is more of a creating content based on the learning, be it is a text or maybe summarizing. The key capabilities of Genre is summarize, classify, and answer. I mean, so extract the information. Okay, these are the key features of capabilities of Gen AI. So where they are going to come? Summarize is based on whole understanding. Gen AI, the LLMs are going to create a new content. Okay, but is it based on creativity? No, it may not be, because LLM, if you see any large language model, a foundation model, which you're using GPT or anything, it has certain parameters. So how many of you used LLM, at least exposed to LLM or some kind of tutorial or something? Maybe you can conduct a poll, Archana, right? Sorry, forgot your name. You can have a poll on that. So if you are trying to understand the parameters, there is one parameter called temperature. Okay, so temperature between 0 to, if you give a value, and how creative the output is going to be. Like, you are allowing the model to go beyond certain permutations and combinations or some kind of predictions. Okay, so this is something like when you're generating a passage, let's say you're asking to summarize a passage, or by reading a blog, you're asking to summarize, can you summarize this in 3 lines? Okay, so 30 lines of a passage, you need to summarize in 3 lines. We might have done this in earlier some of the school exams also. So how do you need to understand what topic it is talking about, putting in your own words, okay, so that some of the sentence, even though if you are missing, you try to abstract that whole concept and put it in 3 lines. So that exercise needs, okay, the poll, which one, how many of you believe? Is there any new question added here?
Sir, we are adding 1 second.
Oh, you're adding. Okay, okay. Uh, okay, let me. It popped up. I thought I'll pull the screen aside. Okay. Yeah. So what is the word which I can use, which is more appropriate? The prediction of the next word, and that should be more relevant to the context. The context is, let's say, let me show you practically so that you'll get an understanding. Most of you might be already seen this kind of scenario, but let me put it in Gemini. So I'll take some news article from IBM. I'm just taking one article from IBM NDTV. So IBM share actually crashed yesterday because of some reason, some $30-40. Okay, so let me, maybe this is not the right one. That's recent news from today. I'll go to newsroom and pick up one. We'll pick up something related to AI. Yeah, I'll take this article. See, either I can specify that, okay, read this from this URL and summarize. Let me do that. So I think there's a limitation for the prompt. So what I'm saying is, please read the article from below URL and summarize in 3 sentences. Do not miss any key information. And this is my URL. So it takes maybe a minute time or minute or more than that to extract the content. Yeah. So now, so it says global study from IBM Institute, IBV. So what is that happening? Primary barrier for AI value. So it's trying to summarize. And also when I say do not miss key information, so it has understood that, okay, the percentage, the impact, revenue growth, 70% higher revenue growth, or maybe some kind of metrics is not ignored here. It's trying to highlight. So that's how you need to understand, like where, I mean, what I need to write and how to generate that to make sure that I'm going to get what I want. So now with agentic approach, what we left here is with agent. Okay, so as adaptive and anonymous, right? What is that we are talking about? Autonomous. Okay, so in this particular prompt, when I write, so I've given in URL and it needs to go through the URL, and like how human is reading, how we are reading this article, it need to read the all the content from the article. Okay, it need to read the content in the article, and based on that, it has to summarize. So first step is connecting to this URL and going through the entire content. Maybe this is like a 2000 words or something, 1000 words. You need to understand this word and then apply the knowledge, the language ability to concise this into like a 4 or 5 lines, not leaving any key information which is highlighted in this. Okay, so the reason for highlighting this is connecting to some URL, extracting the content. So that is something like a common, like when I ask that kind of prompt, maybe this is a common scenario by many people. Then I need to have some kind of tool. Okay, which question is that? I still see only 3 questions here.
Just a second, sir. We are adding the question.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so that is something a repeated task which can be uh, in an agent. I mean, assuming that it's going to agent job, but I can add a tool which can go to Google or some kind of news scraping. How you might have known, I mean, many of you might have worked on web scraping tool. मतलब when you give an URL, it will connect to that URL and crawl the content. So when I go to a page, okay, when I try to read this article, do I need to limit the content reading only to that page? Or see, there are many links when you go to web scraping, whether I need to extract the content from these links also. But here our intent is only to summarize this news article. So I don't need to really go into these links further, how many levels I can traverse. Okay, that is something like a web scraping. Those are the capability of a web scraping. There are many tools, third-party tools available for web scraping. So now with Gen AI, it has an inbuilt some capability, but it may not go to multiple levels. You can specify, but I think there are some limitations. Let's say in this, when you're reading this, whether it can go and read this new global study also, not required maybe in this case, but in other cases, maybe it is required. Okay, so how many levels you can go? If you're going to deeper levels, your computation resources are going to be high and you're going to have large content which need to be processed. That is going to be a challenge. Okay, I think many of you are dropping off. I am assuming that it's because of the language issue. But those who are non-computer graduates, please stick into that. I have few slides for you where you can start. I mean, like I was talking about remote mentoring program, right? I I'm actually working with 4 degree colleges in Telangana, who are purely colleges, government colleges, where the students are from different backgrounds, from rural places, BCom, BA, different streams where they also want to get into some lucrative careers, high demanding careers. That's where you need to have some understanding where to start and how to gain the skill and how to compete. Okay, so don't leave. Those are non computer graduates, non engineering graduates. So I have some content for you as well. Okay. Sorry for deviating. So now you understood, right? The tool aspect. Okay. So autonomous aspects in agent, that is one part, and the tools as one part. And then the next aspect is orchestration. So we'll come to that. This, I think, Venn diagram, hope everyone is able to understand how the different aspects of AI and ML is going to be related, and how what you need to, what level of understanding you need to have. So being a GenAI developer, you don't do I need to have complete understanding of ML? Not complete required, but some percentage of ML understanding is required, like classification, how the classification works. So some percentage of ML is required. Some percentage of AI is required. Not this part also, only this part. Some percentage. And some percentage of deep learning is understanding is required. Okay, so that's how these are related. You don't need to have a machine learning programmer who is going to develop models, need to have complete machine learning understanding, how statistics understanding, how what is deviation, what is mean, mode, how the data is going to be correlation, what is factor influence, all those things you need to have understanding. On top of that, you're going to apply algorithm. That's where the whole circle is. AI, again, the same aspects. You need to have an understanding of those. And deep learning, yes, you need to have both machine learning and AI understanding. Then only you can get into deep learning, the aspects of CNN and all those things you can apply using AI and machine learning here. Okay. So, okay, so now we're talking about technology skills, right? The first aspect in your career readiness. So that's where I'm trying to bring that IBM SkillsBuild also here. So IBM SkillsBuild gives a lot of learning paths. When you register with IBM SkillsBuild, registered as a learner or as an adult learner or even a college student. So I'm just logging into SkillsBuild. So you can use your IBM ID or you can use Google ID also. I'm logging in as a adult learner. Assuming that maybe in next 1 year you're going to complete your graduation. Okay, so this is asking for login. You can see sign up with Google or login. Okay, so I've already signed up. I'm just trying to log in with my company ID, but same view you get even if you log in with your Google ID. So when I sign in, I get this kind of view. So where it's going to show here you can see recommendations, learning, digital credentials, featured job roles, and programs and resources. So when I go to learning, that's the first part. You can see a lot of learning paths here. Okay, so one is I was talking about cloud computing, the technology areas, right? Cyber security, web development, then the other areas where you can see, and each category is going to have some learning. Okay, so if you look at cloud computing, there are different learnings here. Some of them may earn you a badge. Some of them are going to be the part of your badge learning. Okay, that's one thing. Let's say this one is cloud computing fundamentals, where you're going to earn a badge here. It clearly says you're going to earn a credential here. So this badge you're going to earn once you complete, so that you can put it in your resume. Okay. Then what is that you're going to learn in this? One is basic things like to publish your credentials, you need to have a Credly account, and then how to accept those aspects are given. But actual learning is going to be these modules where you're going to learn cloud computing, then understanding the cloud services, deployment model, all those things are going to be part of that. In addition to that, yeah, I think this is only this set of courses, which are going to be typically, see if you calculate all these things, maybe 8 to 10 hours in a day you can complete on your mobile. And then once you complete, sometimes there'll be a quiz to assess yourself. And after completion, you're going to get this badge. So this badge, you can put it in your profile. That in skills section, you can specify, hey, no, cloud computing models and everything. And this is the badge I've earned from IBM SkillsBuild. That you can mention in your resume. Okay, so some basic benchmarking you're going to achieve, where your resume is going to be a little bit enriched with skills. So without any I mean payment or kind of mentoring and other things, how you can achieve the skill on your own. So this is a way to do that. So when you go
Hi, sir. You are on mute.
unmute, okay. Okay, I hope I'm audible. I mean, you didn't miss anything in between.
We did miss a bit,
Wait,
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Which part? Anyway, I'm talking about the IT support technician path, where you can see certain courses here. But if you look at the courses, each one is going to earn a badge for you. So one is lifelong professional skills. So this is where I'm talking about the soft skills, or whatever you call your communication skills. Okay. So if you go to lifelong skills, you can see some modules here. Okay. Effective presentation and communication, collaboration with team. When you're working with team, that's where when you go to a corporate, there'll be some teamwork will be there. You will be working with different people, where you're not going to do the entire job. Some team is going to do some job, and you want to leverage that to do job, or your job requires some dependency on others output. That's where you need to have a collaboration with the team members, and team dynamics is also required, rather than saying, hey, you didn't give the output, that's why I'm not able to proceed. But how collaboratively you can achieve that? Okay, and also agile way, like I was talking in the beginning, right? Agile rather than traditional waterfall model. How to split the work and having sprints, small unit of work, which can be delivered independently, and later it can be integrated with the mainstream, so that the entire application will not go into risk of delays and other thing. So some part is ready. Maybe one part which is complicated is not ready, but remaining parts are ready, so that that team can focus, put it on priority, and they can fix the issues and release that. And what are the problem solving skills, critical thinking? This is also key. That's where your reasoning capabilities, all those things normally be checked before taking you as a fresher. There'll be written test for filtration criteria is one thing, but also to check your ability, how quickly you can think, how out of box thinking you have. Those aspects we will be checking. Okay, then you get this badge, which is going to be more of a professional skills, along with other skills what you need. As a being a technical support engineer, you need to know about security, you need to know about cloud computing and operating systems, VMware, hardware, network protocols, and information technology fundamentals. See, you're going to earn 3, 6, 8 badges, and everything you're going to put it in your resume. And you also get a certificate at the end of the course that you completed IT support technician course from IBM. Then you need to have some handhold on how to leverage the skill, where you can find out in some of the real-time scenario. That's where you need an opportunity. Okay, so having at least the basic understanding on this, it's easy, okay, to understand an employer that, okay, this guy has skills, cloud computing. I don't need to teach from the beginning. He can pick up, okay, and he has an understanding or maturity in understanding the aspects, technical aspects, and able to interpret the application level knowledge. That is what normally we evaluate when you are attending an interview at the corporate level. Okay, so this is one of the path I'm trying to show, but this also has good demand. Let me go back to my slide. I have few slides on the career. So yeah, so we talked about generative AI, right? Already foundation models and LLMs, ethical considerations of generative AI. So IBM SkillsBuild also has a batch getting started with generative AI. You can complete. End of the course, you're going to have some proficiency on prompt, how to write prompt, and also AI risk at class, which is going to talk the compliance and how to process that, and going through a model of IBM, which is IBM Granite model, through a blog and understand how this LLM works. Okay, that's on generative AI batch. And what are the things that generative AI is going to teach you that we already talked, like in foundation models and the output, right? Foundation models are going to take some data as an input, and based on the knowledge which it already trained, it can give output directly, or you can give some level of training, or you tune the model also. So in training, we call it as a zero shot model, where we don't give any examples, we just ask the details. Or sometimes we give some kind of examples. Hey, I want output like this, or I want answer to be extracted based on this kind of analysis. I'll give an example. Then based on the input what you're giving, it will try to apply those kind of few shot training, and then it will produce the output, text generation, or be it is image generation, or code generation, or simulation on based on the synthetic data. These are the capabilities. Broadly, I was mentioning about three categories, right? Extraction, summarization, and classification. Okay. So very specific to LLM models, I didn't show the slide, but we already talked. We have foundation models who is going to be tuned, and then prompting based on the knowledge it is already trained. It's going to give output. Okay, so training LLM involves, like, you have lot of data sets which are trained. Sometimes most of the LLMs, like if you look at the Gemini models, they're all trained on Wikipedia and the whatever information available in the search of Google, because Google has a Google search. It leverages the knowledge, and it is already curated that in some graphical model. The Gemini models, that's why they work very fast, and because it's already trained. Training is already taken care some level, and it recognizes the patterns, and based on the fine tuning and iteration it gives better results. Even without this also it gives. That's where you end up with, you might have heard about hallucinations, confusion matrix. Okay, if you have 2 3 patterns similar to that, which one I need to pick up? Maybe it will give all the combination of that. That's where I need to fine tune, and couple of iterations, repeat the test after training, then I get better results with that. Okay, so again, this is the detailed one which we just talked: input, prompt, and tokenization. Any unstructured data understanding, your input I need to understand it, LLM need to understand. So if you look at any sentence text analytics, one is segmentation, right? You need to identify what sentences are there, and then by those sentences you need to split into tokens. Tokens are like a words, a combination of that, and eliminate the stop words, is, a, all those things you eliminate, and convert that into some kind of subject, object, or action format. So named entities, locations, actions. So this is basic understanding. If you want to understand those, you need to go through the NLP library, natural language processing, how it works. Okay, so broadly those are the steps: sentence segmentation, then tokenization, then eliminating lemmatization. Then once you've done all those things, we are left with some keywords and some actions. What is the relation between these? So when I'm talking about some article about the recent news from Modi. So Modi is the Prime Minister of India. He recently inaugurated or what do you call kicked off a project on bullet trains, and the first bullet train is going to be, and he sanctioned. So initially it started with Modi. Modi is a person, okay, entity type of person named as Modi, and later in the sentence it is referred as he. Okay, so he is a reference of Modi, right? That's understanding is required. Then in the next sentence, railway minister, who is the railway minister? Sorry, I'll just put some name, Nitin, is recently sanctioned the budget, and he declared that the project is going to be completed in 2028 or 2030. So next, when you're talking about now, either he is there, reference, co-reference. This time the he is Nitin, not Modi. Okay, so what is happening based on the context? So the context here is that's what when if you are working any application in GenAI, so you have to process lot of data, right? There you process like a article which is having 30-40 lines. Are you going to process the entire thing and store it? And when I ask the question, who is the, based on the article, I'll just ask who is the railway minister in India. So we want to set the entire text article which is having 2000 words? No. So that is where the tokenization, not tokenization, chunks, the chunking the data is going to happen, because you need to have faster retrieval of the data. If I search the 2000 words of article, it may take maybe a couple of minutes. Rather, if I chunk the data, put it in smaller text, maybe one of the piece of text chunk is having the answer. That's why we chunk the data, split the data into smaller parts. How many of you use LLMs? 67%. Okay, almost 50% I assume. Good. I mean, at least you have some knowledge. Mostly I think you'll be using Gemini model or Go, the free models what you have, or ChatGPT, let's say. So you need to know which model is going to be more, I mean, how it is. Okay, those are the aspects which currently I'll just talk about that. Let me complete this. So that context understanding is required, where you need to know what is the when you're chunking, let's say you chunk the data like Modi part you chunked, and then a recent project on bullet train you chunked into small chunk, and then railway minister you chunked. But when I ask the question, what is that future plan of Modi on Indian Railways? So one chunk talks about Modi, another chunk talks about bullet train. So there should be some linking between these two chunks, piece of text. That is what called overlap. Okay, and you specify while chunking that I need to have some 10% of overlap between chunks. So when you are searching these the chunks which you are stored in a vector format is some kind of number format. Why do you need to store in vector format? Faster retrieval. Okay, because I cannot go and compare each keyword based on the question. That is also one way of do that. When I ask a question, who is the Prime Minister of India? That question and the chunks can be compared. When I compare, how many of you know about cosine similarity algorithm? There are a lot of many similarity algorithms are there, which will check the combination of the keywords, how they are aligned, how close they are aligned. Okay, with the graph structure, what you get based on the closeness or approximate proximity, it gives a score. This question is more aligned to this particular piece of text. Okay, but you may be missing the context there also. Okay, that's where the overlap is going to be there. When you're searching those kind of vector database, it will also consider the overlap, where it will take the next piece of chunk which is an overlap of 10%, where you get an accurate answer. That's where the transformation architecture is going to play a big role here, where you're getting data with some accuracies in generative AI. Okay, go back and read what is transformation architecture, transform architecture, and also how LLM works. What is the key feature of LLM? So be it is Gemini or maybe some kind of Llama models, how they are different. Which one has key capabilities? Some may be good in reasoning, some may be good in extracting the summarization, some may be good in chat kind of responding. So those you need to understand. So now we talked about the context understanding, how we can bring up the context by this. One of the example is chunking overlap, or maybe the passage, the tone which you're talking about. What is the intent behind that? When you're developing a chatbot, what is the first thing that you need to know? When I ask a question, what is the branch which is located in near to my area? What is that I need to understand as a chatbot? Customer is asking about branch info. So immediately what information I require? What is this city? What is this area? Then I can ask some application, invoke an application. What are the branches close to this area, this pin code? I can ask the question and give the information. Okay, that is what the intent of the question intent. So how is it calculated? It's basically classification, right? You train certain questions. Somebody is asking where is the branch located, and where is your branch located in Hyderabad? Okay, I stay at Panjaguta, and where is do you have branch within 2 kilometers from Panjaguta? So all these questions are related to branch information. So you train a model, classification model with some samples here, but now that is earlier days, maybe a 6 months or 1 year ago. Now, generative AI has the capability because it's already trained. You can ask, what is this user talking about? But please note, training a classification model has different cost, but whereas calling a LLM on a basic thing also will cost some token. Those tokens are going to be cost something, because if you subscribe a plan where $100 is a plan for 1 month, that $100 will give usage of token of maybe 1 million tokens. So every call is going to consume some tokens. So rather, whether I can optimize, how do you optimize? That's where the context engineering is one area which is going to have very high demanding in next few years. Context engineering. Okay, even context engineering also little outdated. We now talk about loop engineering. Okay, especially for the autonomous agents, loop engineering is something which is going to take, okay, I'm doing this. Okay, so what is that I need to do it in autonomous, so that I can optimize this process, even the token consumption or the LLM calls or the infrastructure costs, all those things are going to be mattered. Now, the challenge is not developing an AI application using generative AI. The challenge is, how do I optimize? How do I develop an application? Let's say my application is going to, I'll just give an example where the project I'm working, I don't quote the name. We proposed a, I mean, generative application with AI and agentic AI, where it is going to reduce the number of people who are working on that process to 50, let's say 30%. 100 people, 10 people are working the same job after agentic AI. 7 people are enough, 3 people not required. But if I take out the 3 people, what is my saving? Is it going to be more than what this application, the LLMs are going to consume? The cost of using the LLMs or generative AI. So that is what is currently the challenge is. And then prediction, output generation, we just spoke about this. Okay, so now what's the time now? How much time we have? Sorry.
It's 6:36 now.
6:30. Okay, so
It's
around
okay, Sash.
20. I'll just take 10 minutes, then we'll open up the questions.
Yes.
So we talked already. I don't want to spend more time. What capabilities? Generative extraction, summarization. We spoke about all these things multiple times. And then automation. So why do you need automation? So most of the repetitive tasks are need to be automated, so that you can achieve the efficiency or productivity. That's productivity is the focus, right? How, so that you don't need, you don't assume that you're going to lose the job or the job opportunity is going to be less, but the productivity. Let's say you're dealing with one client. I'll tell you one typical example. One of the consulting firm where we developed an application. It's a tax compliance verification. So one person who is going to get a document or couple of documents, who is going to analyze, he is having a knowledge of some SME knowledge of taxation compliance, how the tax contract compliance, sorry, contract, whether the complaint, what kind of clauses are there as per the business industry standards. So whether these clauses are acceptable, whether these clauses are violated or deviated, what kind of penalties are there. That level of knowledge is required for the SME, who is going to review the complete contract, all the clauses, and then see, run against a playbook and see whether it is compatible, what percentage of compatible there, how to fix it, those classes. These kind of consultation you'll do. Maybe it'll take 4 days or 5 days for a contract analysis. With Gen AI, where you train a model, you tune a model with all this knowledge that the SME is having, and also you train the model with the playbook. Okay, so hey, this clause having normal scenario is this, deviation scenario is this. What is the remedy that need to be applied? Reconciliation need to be done. If it is trained, then once you upload the document and ask question, hey, can you do a compliance check against my policy, whatever we have. You'll go and check, maybe in 10 minutes it can generate. So does it mean that this person is going to lose job? No, the human review is going to be there, remediation is going to be there, but he can process review contract rather than weekly he's reviewing maybe 1.5 contract. He can review 3 contracts or 4 contracts. The productivity has increased. The more revenue is going to be generated here, because the customer can deal with more clients, or he completes the job in a short time and may get more business from the customer. That's how we need to think. Okay, that's where I'm talking about this automation, how it is evolved. Initially, it is desktop automation, robotic, then autonomous process, and with AI, currently we are seeing connected cars and automation using different sensor. That's where we are currently. In future, I mean, we are talking about the neuromorphic system. That's where the generative AI, the chips are going to be changed now. Now, I think we are working more on GPU based. Those things are going to come in cognitive journey. I'll just skip this. Yeah, just skip. Yeah, this is one thing. Even though in generative, this is more applicable. So one is any cognitive system need to have understanding of how we are understanding. I talked about a kid case, right? How kid is going to understand what are the machine learning AI aspects are going to be there. Where we are to mimic those. We are not completely in a stage where we're going to have similar kind of autonomous thinking. We are just mimicking. Okay, and the reasoning. So we are also able to give reasoning, right? What is that? What, why, how? And based on that, apply your knowledge and get some kind of answers or understanding about next action, all those things. Okay, so yeah, I was talking about automation and augmentation. Augmentation is already there, always there is there. That's where the human in the loop is going to be critical here to achieve the efficiency and 100% results in the system. That's where the agentic is evolving. Sorry. Okay, this is a pop-up. Okay. Yeah, so when I talk about agent, one is autonomous. We've been talking about autonomous, which can think independently or on its own, understand, plan, and execute a specific task. So I was talking about this contract thing, right? So let's say if I have an agent, so first agent need to get the data from the text. I mean, from the contract document. So even to get the data from the contract document, so some tool, maybe PDF extractors, right? Many of you Python programmer maybe having some exposure how to extract the data from PDF. Yes, you extracted all the data. Maybe the document is 10 pages. You extracted all the data. Now, what is next? So you need to store somewhere. Okay, storing it in a database or some offline flat file is going to help, because the purpose of extracting the data is to analyze the data to get answers or to get the complaints. And this document is having clauses, contract is having clauses, right? Which are going to be maybe bullet points. So I need to chunk the data, split the data, maybe clause wise, because that is more relevant for me to check the compliance score against my playbook or the guidelines. So the step is understand, and then planning is I need to run these through my playbook. So some what LLM is having the understanding. Maybe I need to tune the LLM with an additional playbook understanding or contract domain. Yes, maybe some training and tuning happened. Then you run the specific task to check the complaints. Maybe class by class it will go. Maybe one more training level is required to execute everything. That's where you're going to get the final results. That's how the agent is going to work. Okay, so once this agent completes the compliance job, one agent is extracting the content, doing the chunking, and second agent is going to do the compliance. Third agent maybe will report the entire thing in a specific format and send a mail that, okay, I have done with the compliance and this is the report. That's how this agentic framework is going to be it is LandGraph and LangChair or more OpenAI. Microsoft has come up with AutoGen. IBM has a Beam AI framework, and CrewAI is also one of the AI framework. And IBM has a complete enterprise grade product called Watson X Orchestrate. And you can get a trial plan once you register with IBM Cloud, where it gives ability to generate agents and also link with your chat with documents, and multi-agent orchestration. Those aspects it will give. Okay. Just skip this because we spoke many use cases, the contract analysis. We talked about this savings, productivity. This also a high level I touched when we are working in AI. So these are the aspects that the responsible AI need to bring up. Complaints to that, fairness, like you cannot have some kind of bias in debating a model. It depends on how you're collecting the data. Let's say you are trying to analyze behavior of credit card usage, where you collected data in a shopping mall, 2, 3 shopping malls you collected. But in Indian pattern, mostly you go to in a family or somebody they are doing a shopping or some leisure activity, you go and ask and mail that because he is the one. Most of the cases, I'm just not trying to differentiate here, they use the credit card. So you go and interview, they get a different answer. But you need to have an understanding whether this model is generating any bias based on the gender. So you go back and ensure that the data is collected from equal a number of male and equal number of female, so that you don't get any bias with the results. That's how the fairness and explainability is I was talking, right? What documents are referred, why I'm answering this based on these data and these conditions or relations, I'm answering these. Okay, so similarly the transparency, how you can bring up the transparency, how you're generating. Okay, and privacy aspects, all those things going to be part of responsible AI. The AI ethics also need to be one area where you can explore, and there are a lot of opportunity, but you need to have basic understanding how AI works, and on top of that, how the model governance works. Based on that, you can look into this area. So this is where I want to spend at least 5 minutes. Now, what's the time? Okay, 15 minutes. Okay, let me spend 5 minutes. So when I look into the career paths, this is again for those non-technical graduates also I'm trying to address here. So one of the quick things, somebody is doing BCom or BSc computers or BCom computers. So can I get into software? That's a question normally people ask. Yes, you can start with technical support executive, where you need to have fair understanding about the technology. That's where the badges also teach about this. So once you get into this basic level of training, then you can also think about like a cloud support engineer. Okay, now we are talking about site reliability engineer who need to have lot of combination of skills, IT operations, software engineering, all those things. So your career path, when you start with technical support engineer, you can think of site reliability engineer, which is one of the evolving career. Okay. Similarly, we are coming up with forward deployment engineer, forward deployment architecture. So FDE also for experience, immediately for freshers, there are FDE roles are not open. But once you are into software engineering and over the time, you need to have a domain knowledge and we need to have some architectural knowledge. So this is the path which is going to be your career growth path. So similarly for data engineer, but most of the engineering tasks are going to be automated. So then is it a right career? Data analyst is earlier we used to talk about business analyst, but most of the business analyst jobs are tasks are going to be automated. What is that I need to know? So beyond, I mean, how to get the data, what are the different formats I need to consolidate, and these models, what type of data required, required, those aspects you need to understand. Like one of the area which normally I suggest for BCom graduates is, so there's a sustainability goal for 2030. We need to, every industry worldwide, it's a mandate that every industry need to be compliant with those industry regulations. That's where the target is worldwide, where a lot of analysts are required there to analyze the company data and generate some kind of reporting for sustainability purpose and what improvements are required. That's one area definitely. Maybe it is not like complete software development or software industry, but you also get some technology exposure. Similarly, security analyst. I was talking about security aspects, right? What aspects you need to cloud, DevOps, FinOps. FinOps is usage of cloud. So there are some kind of metrics or some kind of monitoring is happening. But again, costing of usage of service, how do we generate the report, giving billing reports to customer, explaining those. This is also one area where you may not have heavy demand in this area, but that's one area where you can also explore. And of course, prompt engineering is one job where, I mean, you have seen like every 40-50% that they are using AI tools. That what you're writing there is prompt. Okay. So how you effectively can write prompt? I mean, there are system prompts and prompt templates also there when you're working with agentic AI. You need to have an understanding about prompt templates. So these are the careers which I try to list out where you can think of, and then you can search what skills required and map it to your skills build trainings. Okay. Yeah. So we talked about the whole session. I was focusing on technology skills because that's the whole main objective of this session. So what are the other two areas that you need to know? So ways of working, workforce readiness. So ways of working is something like 1 second. Yeah, technology skills we just talked about. That's why I told I'm going to repeat this slide at later stage. So working ways. Okay. So one is like you can't have like a very traditional methods where you say that okay the collaboration which we talked about, right? So those aspects are gone. Like you need to be more agile. Agile is like when you have a piece of work that is going to be split into smaller things, and you need to have holistic understanding. What is the project? What part I'm working? So somebody says that is not part of my work. Somebody else will do. But how you are getting that? Having some understanding, this is going to give good visibility and also control on your own and improve the skills. Maybe some of the skills in that area are going to help you, or maybe your thinking can change because you get a holistic understanding. Also, the professional skills. What is that employer is looking for? It's not just knowing a Python. So you need to have communication skills, critical thinking, collaboration, problem solving. I was showing in that life skills, right? That's a module which is going to teach you. And mindfulness, some area is like how to reduce your stress and self-awareness. These are some of the aspects where mindfulness session is also going to address. And what is it? Design thinking, how creatively you can think how to address this problem, and entrepreneurship mindset, like if you're trying to have your own, how you're going to think rather than saying, yeah, this is my job, I'm done, I'm leaving. Okay, but what is that you need to have that mindset. So these are some of the aspects of ways of working at especially corporate level, which is going to help you to grow in the career. Okay, without that, am I going to can't I do job? Yes, but your growth aspect is also important. That's where the industry is going towards, right? I mean, skills. Okay, then work readiness is other thing. So we just talked about this, right? Ways of working, work readiness. So in work readiness, especially the critical thinking, all those things will come along with collaboration and understanding certain aspect, like your emotional intelligence and all those things. The creating your profile, creating using LinkedIn, to how to create my profile in LinkedIn, how effectively I can create a CV. I'm sure everyone is aware now there is an ATS score. Okay, all resumes where you're going to upload, it's going to calculate an ATS score. So ATS score is going to tell you what is the gap in the resume, gap in the not in the career, whether you presented it properly or not. Okay, so it will see like when you specify that I've done this work, I've done an academic project, library science. So you've taken the code and you executed and you completed. Yes, I'm done. Recently, there's one student. I'm actually working with one district to develop a portal to improve the rural schools to connect with their alumni. Okay, so I try to use some kind of Bob or Studio to generate the code. And the task which is given to the student is to run this code. It has everything, instruction, README, everything is there. The only task is given is run this code and make sure that the use case points are already covered. So after a week, he said, I am done with the project. So I asked, can you schedule a call to show them output? He said, I have some family event. I'll come back after 2 days. Then only last week, last 2 days back only he has come back to me after a month. The whole process is 1 month. Ideally, it takes 2 days to complete the job. And then he tried to show something. Whatever is there, it is trying to show, but he is not talking about whether he verified the requirement with that. Okay, so that is what is expected. Ownership is required. One of the aspect, maybe it is not mentioned here. Ownership is also required, and our problem solving ability, all those things are common. We have done that what is expected. Okay, so just for, I mean, don't mind for putting this, don't take it seriously that you need to create a resume. So Gabbar Singh, before having a LinkedIn, I'm not criticizing LinkedIn, I'm just saying how professionally you can evolve. I mean, Gabbar Singh has evolved here. So before that, he says 6 ways to maybe is a dacoit headhunter. But if you look at after refining his profile, so it says 50K plus captive followers, cheap talent acquisition. Come across one article where, based on Gabbar Singh conversation, his HR skills are taken into consideration for kind of training. That's a blog. Okay. Kitna aadmi the? Okay. He's trying to assess how much manpower is required here to face this issue. Okay. Preparedness. So I don't want to get into detailed discussion on that, but if you have time, just go search for the blog. You will get very interesting things discussed there. Okay. So, but irrespective of that, you need to know how to create your profile and what skills, like all these skill build skills, badges are going to add value. And you have a lot of resources like Kaggle and other thing where you can get the projects done already, go through that, understand, make some different use case and apply those. So this, I think I'm just skipping few slides because I was talking about disruption earlier. What are the disruptions recently we saw? Like mobile is one disruption, and then LLM at least is come up with good kind of scenarios now. So these are the backup slides where I want to show. I think I have one slide, one small video. I guess this is the one. Let me see if I can play this. No, I don't think so. Okay. Nothing. Okay, this is one of the scenario which I want to highlight, like conversational skills, right? Now you have seen many forms, especially banking or retail thing. There'll be a ask me kind of icon where you click that. Even Swiggy, if you're using online shopping, Swiggy or Zomato or Blinkit. So if you have an issue, you go to help and put a question. It'll ask you to upload the image of the product, whether you have issue with missing item, damage, and it'll analyze the image. Let's say your product is damaged. I ordered an apple. Apple is not in a proper condition. It'll try to analyze when you upload a picture. It'll try to analyze and see whether it is rotten or damaged. If the training as per the image training. So imagine that it trained on many products. Like it has identified that Apple is damaged. Then it'll process the refund. It'll ask you whether you want the refund back to your account or to the credit or something. Or if it finds that the product is not in a damaged condition, it will try to transfer the call. It will say that sorry, this is in good condition, but if you still want to process based on the amount of the order, whether it need to arrange a pickup or not, or whether refund the money partially as a token of token amount or some amount as a coupon. That's a decision making, right? So a lot of ML aspects you're saying, vision, identifying trend and a product, whether it's damaged or not, chatbot, which is understanding the intent, automatic chatbot. There's no live agent there. It understands the chat and it's trying to respond. It knows the business process, whether I can need to process or not, what conditions, all those things are there. That's how, I mean, we already seen this is well matured area where you're saying in many applications, this automatic chats are there. Okay, including your social media, Facebook or other thing. Okay, so that's a customer engagement part, conversational solutions. And this is, yeah, this video I want to show. Let me play. I hope I can play this. Oops. Okay, this is a robot which is at the front desk of an hotel, where normally when you go to an hotel, I'm not talking about the normal hotels, but when a hotel has a lot of facilities like gym, swimming pool, breakfast, and then other areas, then probably the one at the front desk will explain, or if you are familiar, then you'll figure out. Or if you want to know, you can ask questions. The voice-based interaction where the bot is trained. Okay, it says that hey, these are the things. And HDFC, by the way, tried a bot. I forgot the name. In some of the branches, this bot will roam around, and you can ask questions. Okay, I want to deposit a check. Where is the deposit mission? Or some questions it will answer. It has a tab also and the chest where it will also display some information. If somebody is not understanding its voice, you can also read in that. And then I think I've seen somewhere in the city branch only HDFC. Okay, these are some Watson services and yeah, this is one example. Sorry, I'm not able to play the video, somehow some issue. So this is a visual inspection of a tool which will do the quality inspection of some of the products. As soon as it come on belt, it will take the picture and it will verify. It will take picture from 2, 3 angles, and the model is trained that okay, if this has crack or maybe size is not this much, or maybe some angle is different, then it will give a severity and it will change the belt thread rather than going to the main flow. One second, I am not able to. Oops. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not playing. I can share the video. You can look into that. So it will direct the route to defect path where somebody manually is going to inspect, see what is the issue. It will also generate tag the product ID with what kind of defect it has noticed, and further they'll evaluate and they process. Okay, and retail industry also a lot of. AI is now incorporated on online shopping, and then healthcare. So every industry is going to have this. So it's not just software. You having an understanding about these industries. Okay. So lastly, I want to just take you through Bob. Like Bob, we mentioned AI for development partner, where it mainly focuses on how to bring efficiency, productivity in develop SDLC, where I think major part is code, generating code, but not generating code alone. I mean, while you get errors, how to fix that, understanding the code, and also errors, how to fix the errors. These are the aspects which Bob can cover. And also many aspects you might have seen, like Bob can, not only Bob, the other tools also. So you can generate code based on the requirement document. You can also do some kind of reverse engineering based on the code so that you can generate the documentation based on that. Let me know if you are able to see the view. This is the other demo which I'm talking about. I mean, small video. It's doing a visual inspection of the products, taking some pictures from different angle, and it also checks, tracks the size, specification, all those things. If any deviation is there, it will direct into different path. It can say that okay, it is inspect part. Maybe I think some error is also there. It will direct into some defective route. So it is also highlighting what is wrong. Okay, this is on quality inspection, and I was talking about this. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, this is the customer consists at a hotel.
Hi, Connie.
How may I help you? I am Hilton's newest concierge in training, thanks to a pilot project between Hilton and IBM.
Hospitality is a really interesting use case for Watson because inevitably you have people who need information. They need to find a restaurant, they need to find a park, they need to get directions.
We operate in a very crowded industry. So innovation is key. Innovation has to help solve problems operationally. Innovation has to help our customers. It's an opportunity to really delight customers in ways that they don't.
Yeah, that's a small clip on how AI can be used in different places, different industries. Um, so from your career perspective, we talked about a few things, right? Understanding the technology trends, and then what is that I need to know? Okay. So what industry or what skill I need to pick up? If I'm non-computer graduate, can I start with AI, or what is the domain that I need to look into? Do I need to, by the way, I think I don't know whether I included the slide or not. One of the recent studies says the other jobs which where AI cannot do, they are going to have high demand in the future, like a carpenter job. But in carpenter job also, well, when you want to cut a tree and make it a small pieces and putting a design, that's pretty much can be automated. But something like a creativity design or some kind of furniture which need to be assembled, that's where maybe the robotic cannot do. That's where those jobs are going to be in demand. And also your basic ethics like interview preparation, like the course which I talked about, the career work readiness, which has a lot of courses where it will guide you on what are the skills that I need to know in terms of preparing for a job. Those aspects are going to be covered along with the life skills in those modules. So prepare for those aspects. Understand what is that expected for as an employer, and having some knowledge about the industry is also help. That's a preparedness what you're talking about. But as a fresher, if you're going to key things which normally the basic fundamentals checked are your problem solving, your thinking, and how good you are in reasoning. Those are the aspects. But having these additional gadgets or some kind of skills, which is going to put you in the group as a differentiator, where it's easy for the employer also to pick you up and maybe train you. There's somebody's raised a hand. Any question? Okay, so I think we covered most of the aspects. So I'll open for the questions. And maybe you can, one second. If you want anybody to connect with me, I have given my details here. I don't mind, but don't call me. You can put a message or you can reach out to me on the mail. Okay, so let's open the question forum. Somebody from your team can coordinate, let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if already questions are there, we can ask. Otherwise,
Mm. So there is one question, like which skill are required for higher salary in upcoming 2, 3 years in industry?
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm talking about. Agentic AI is now in the high demand. But again, the roles which I'm talking about, SRE, FDE, FDA roles, they are going to be high demand. But you need to have, I mean, as a fresher, that's not the area where you can kick off the career. You need to have some expertise. That's the reason I'm talking about Agentic AI with all the knowledge of other three circuits which I'm talking about, right? Like when you say I know RAG, so people say that, okay, when I ask the question, even if for 3 years, 4 years experience guy also, so I take a document, chunk it, and this is the strategy, but this is, but when I ask a question, why are you using this library? When you are processing a document, PDF document you are processing, maybe use some PDF library. But what will happen if the PDF has images? And that image data is also required. What is your approach? Maybe the understanding here is what is OCR, what libraries are available, whether the PyPDF or PyMU PDF what you are using, whether that supports OCR, or I need any Tesseract API to do that, because Tesseract is very specialized in OCR. But what will happen with the non-image data? So I need to have a combination. How do you know what page has image? Those aspects, if you know that, how will you get the knowledge when you start working on a sample application using PyPDF? Let's say you take a PDF which has 4 images with text on images and some text. When you try to extract the data and see what text it is extracting, then you'll understand it is discarding image data. And how do I extract the image data? What is the way? OCR, object character recognition. What is ICR? When you process the written text, that where intelligent character recognition will come, ICR. So if you are able to at least interpret that level, then definitely you're going to differentiate. That's where you're going to put in a some level of differentiating position when you're going for attending an interview. So practice, I mean, do something, some lab exercises, and get that kind of experience. That is pretty much possible nowadays. Yes, any other question? Kindly stay connected. Any other question, Aarti?
So,
Which AI is going to help us in present and future time? What do you mean by which AI? Are you talking about it is Google or it is um, Copilot? Are you talking about the vendor specific? AI is common. I am preparing as a company, I'm preparing my tooling, all those things to use that. I call it as Gemini, or I call it as Bedrock models. So it is AWS. I call it as Copilot or OpenAI models. But there is some standard which is defined, maybe OpenAI standard. Everyone is going to align. There is an architecture which is defined. Everyone is going to align. If somebody has come up with a new architecture, new feature, that's where the model, because Google has some 20 years of search engine is available, which is curated. Definitely, you get some better results with Gemini model, but may not be good in reasoning, because Google is more of a search and giving the results. But maybe reasoning, some other models, maybe Llama models are going to do job. Granite models are going to do some job. Document chat with document. Granite models will do pretty decent job. You upload the document and ask any question without training, you get very accurate results. Any other question? Yeah, this is one of the thing you need to know. You have something, nobody is in front of you, right? You are virtually connected. There's nothing wrong in asking the question. Of course, your ChatGPT is there to answer the question, but this is an opportunity where you know with the industry expertise what kind of things are happening. No questions? Only claps. Okay. I think we can summarize. So maybe you can want to note down my mail ID, note down.
there is one question, sir.
Yes.
Which AI tools do software companies expect freshers to know today?
I mean, it depends. Like, see, I was talking about the open source, right? Copilot gives badging. Now, IBM Bob is also, sorry, I think I missed that part. So Bob, if you go to IBM Bob, it gives a free credits where you can download and you can use. Right now I'm using Bob, right? So this is how the Bob interface is going to be. Let's say if maybe this is the last thing, I think I missed the part. I've already created a prompt. I'm just saying I'm a fresh graduate, started learning how to use Bob and generative AI, create a Python-based fast API web application to receive your name as input and to receive a question, I'll say. Question as input and output answer using web search tooling. You Bob, leverage agentic AI here using LangChain on LangGraph. So basically, I'm developing an agentic application here. Straight away, I mean, I thought of writing a simple prompt, but for your sake, I'm even adding land graph. So once you download the Bob and get an access to Bob, you get this interface where you're going to get some Bob coins. So basically, what are Bob coins is each coin will have some tokens. So right now, it shows I used 90% of budget is remaining. I used 10%. Maybe I got 100% because an IBM employee, I got 100 coins, whereas 9.77 coins are used. I think you will get maybe 40 coins, I think. Yeah, so I'll show you that. So let me execute the prompt. Then parallelly, I go to Bob and see. So you can type IBM Bob and then download and get a free trial. Free trial will give you 40 Bob coins, right, for 1 month. Register with that and then download. It's an IDE where you can run it on Windows or Mac or other OS systems. And this, so when you open Bob, it's a Visual Code. Most of you, I think, already familiar with Visual Code. It is built based on Visual Code. So now, see, it's an agentic approach, right? One task. Basically, when we talk about agent, there are tasks which agents need to execute, and task completion need to know what sequence it need to execute, what are the tools it can use. In this case, okay. In this case, the tool is maybe this is code generation tool. Right now, this is using Cloud thing, which is using tool. Maybe if you're doing web search kind of thing, then Tivoli kind of tools you can specify. But maybe that tool, if it requires some licensing, it will also show that, okay, this is the configuration file where you need to configure your OpenAI key and or the Tivoli key so that the entire application will work. So here I didn't say very specific instructions. Let's let it complete. Then we can argument saying that hey, I need complete documentation on how to use the application. I need instructions on how to run locally. I need instructions on how to deploy this application on IBM Cloud. Give me step-by-step instructions. To deploy this in IBM Cloud, you need to have IBM Cloud access, IBM CLA access, or yeah, mostly CLA access is required, command line integration. Then you need to create certain services. To deploy, you need to have code engine or serverless kind of service, and containerization need to be done. And once you containerize, push it to Docker Hub, and referring that you can deploy it on IBM Cloud. So now make sure that when you open the box, first you create a folder in your application and open the folder, then only write the prompt. Otherwise, it will create either on desktop or some folder which is as part of your home configuration. Then you'll have some problem in the environment and other thing. So I created a folder here, IBM SkillsBuild. I've already opened that. Now it is generated the application. It's still generating, you can see. And it is added a requirement document. Like we know when we set up the environment, what libraries are required. So right now I'm using Fast API that it added, and then Unicon for deployment. I'm specified as a LangChain, right? LangChain, then LangChain Open API, LangChain Community, LangGraph, Tivoli, then Pydantic, then what else? Dot environment, what the dot env. And README gives even high level architecture, right? Very high level, how this is going to work, architecture. So you have agent, OpenAPI works on OpenAPI LLM, and tools, one tool it is using Tivoli, and then question and answer kind of JSON response you're going to get. And it will also tell step by step what you need to do. Install the dependencies, requirements, paper of requirements, then you configure your key. In this case, we are using Tivoli. Then you go and get the trial Tivoli API key and configure it. And Open API key is also you need to configure. Once you configure everything, how to run this application, how to deploy this application. Okay, so all this you need to specify, and you can see the environment, what keys, how to configure. You rename this in the README. They might have specified in a rename environment dot sample example to dot env. You rename this, add these keys, Tivoli and OpenAI. What LLM you want to change, you can change, and then actual code. Your we asked to generate a fast API application, right? Fast API normally will have some URLs. Maybe this is the agent, but the main will have the fast API, and it also gives some kind of REST API URL, how to run this application. So get, post, ask, documents. Ask with question we need to invoke. Okay. So it has methods to invoke. This is the path. Well, we'll do ask question, and it is going to invoke a backend service, which is in the part of agent, one agent, then state. Okay, and then build graph. What is the actual agent which is going to answer the question? Because this is a land graph, it has added nodes. One is agent and tools. It is trying to join this using edge, tools and agent. And the main is going to have question and answer. Based on answer, it's going to search the Tivoli. Tivoli is a public domain, Google search kind of thing. If you ask a question, it's going to execute that in Tivoli tool, and it's going to use LLM to summarize this answer. It's not direct LLM answer. LLM also, maybe if it is Gemini or other models, maybe some models can answer, but first it need to go and scrap the answer from the public domain, and based on the content it is getting, it's trying to extract the answer from that, and it will give. Okay, the final answer, final message, something. So you can write this and execute. It's pretty straightforward. So the effort which you are writing, like what libraries, what how to execute the code, what is your application structure. So you need to have a init module and then main module, configuration, and the README requirements. All those things, it followed the standard framework based on the fast API. If you are trying to run, okay, can you modify this as React application? So I'm trying to make this as a React application. Maybe it will take some time because all these files we need to modify, maybe TypeScript file, or it depends what I didn't specify the specific architecture or the backend how it need to be. It takes maybe the standard protocols, and it will modify. Okay. So this is where human in the loop, right? I'm approving that, okay, I'm okay with the changes. Go ahead and make the changes. You see, it's adding a front end. It's keeping the backend as fast API. That's a good part. It is leveraging the existing application. When you're developing a React application, there's a front end as a backend. So the React still can be a backend. Whatever you have it in main.agent.api, still that can be a backend because you're going to call REST API from the front end. So it is generating the front end code. So you can see a front end folder is added here, where the source and public HTML, index.html, and the React file is generated here. It's still generating the code. It's adding this as a front end, where it all is a simple application, right? I need a text box where I can type the question and ask question, click on ask question, then it will invoke the backend. to get the answer, the existing fast API backend. So it's calling the main J6. Manoj Kaur has a question. You can type in that, Manoj. Somebody will find the question. What is the question, Atna? Charita, right? Sorry. What is the career for an experienced QA testing professional? Okay, that's good question. Testing. Now, I was talking about, right, the manual testing is automated. Now, the automation of automation. This is one of the asset which I'm working. Like somebody asked, I don't know, in this context, other context the evening. So there are some tools, right? Selenium. Everybody might be knowing about Selenium. You write test script based on the test cases, which is going to run to automate the testing. So the question is, the effort to write the test script from Selenium expertise is something the Selenium trained person done right. What if imagine when you pass the use case, the agent is going to write the test case, and one more agent is going to write the test script using Selenium or maybe other tool, and one more agent is going to configure the test suite and execute the test case. That is where the automation of automation, where somebody human, the tester or the who is going to be reviewing that, or some test architect is going to define what is the testing strategy, a testing whole architecture is required. And maybe instead of 10 members to test, maybe we need 4 members, but the testing can be faster and more accurate results. We can compare the results. I mean, we can have LLM as a judge, or some of the as expected results can be compared, and we can say that this test is failed because of these reasons. So I'm working on something which I can't disclose now, where the RCA, there is something called RCA, root cause analysis. So typically in a support system, when a bug is raised, L1 is first support, where they say that what is the issue, where it is coming, what are the modules were involved. So that the L2, if they can fix it that level itself, let's say you call the bank application, say that, okay, I'm not able to log in. So what is the issue? Do you have the internet, proper internet, or did you type a proper password, or is it because of some network issue it's coming? First level they'll check. If it is all everything is correct, then they'll raise a case that, okay, this is not able to. Somebody from the backend need to check the log, what has happened when you try to log in. Then only you'll come to know that, okay, this log says that he has some password expiry, or maybe not password expiry, that is also will say password expiry. He has something which is blocking the account that need to be cleared. So that's the reason it is not able to. Then there is no fix there, something it need to be communicated. Or it could be some application which is going to verify the login credential, the LDAP, the server which is going to maintain the users, that is down. That's the exception. It says that it is down, not available. Credentials are validated, but authorization is something failed, where it is not able to come back saying giving access to the account. Okay, so that level of RCA also can be automated using agents. We need to have understanding about the framework, authorization framework, or maybe the complete code, so that it can go and check and suggest what need to be done. Okay, so my team is waiting. I'm already delayed by 20 minutes. Any questions?
I don't think there are any more questions, sir.
Okay, good. So all the best, guys. I mean, prepare. You need to be equipped with many things. It is time that you need to spend and some commitment you need to take. Remember, industry is changing. Not just telling that I know this will not work. Okay, I can do this. I know this. I have done this. I have seen this. That is what is going to work. Okay, all the best. Thanks for the opportunity. I hope we can close the call.
Thank you so much for a wonderful and insightful session, sir. I hope everybody enjoyed the session. On behalf of everyone, I thank you so much for the session, and everybody would be using this AI in their career and future, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, all. So, you had a bit of introduction regarding IBM SkillsBuild from Sir itself. So, I'll take up a few minutes from you just to make you understand about IBM SkillsBuild. I hope everybody's taking up the same energy. Just give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay. So, yeah. So, as sir already mentioned, IBM SkillsBuild is a global digital learning platform and it has lots of advantages in that. So, basically, it's the CSR program of IBM company. So these are few datas related to IBM skills build and just yeah. So these are the benefits that you will have once you enroll into the platform and start using the platform. So as I already mentioned, this is a global digital learning platform and it has over 85,000 plus learning activities that anyone can take up, and from basics to intermediate and advanced level you can take up any courses inside this, and all these courses you can earn certificates and credentials that would be very much beneficial to add to your LinkedIn as well as your CV, helping out in your future. So all the courses, as already mentioned, is aligned with NSDM and DI. Also, as I mentioned already, there are digital badge and certificates that you can use. And students doing from different careers can switch or explore new career options. Like there were a few queries regarding what to do after BA and arts background. You can explore new careers through this platform. Even technical things you can explore through this platform. And the main point is these are the courses that is sponsored by IBM. That means it comes completely free of cost. From registering into the platform, taking up the certificates and badges, everything comes completely free of cost. And this session, the internships coming up, PBLs coming up, everything would be sponsored and you wouldn't be asked to pay anything for this. But you'll have a very brightful future and career from this platform. So, I already mentioned like there are lots of courses. So, everyone would be thinking what are the types of courses inside that. So, we can widely divide it into three, that is domain specific, professional skills, and job readiness programs. Okay. In domain specific, you can, as you all can see in the screen, there are courses like AI, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, etc., that is specifically for the domain, and you can just take time from basics to intermediate, you can do the courses. Then comes the professional skills, that is you're going up for a job and everything, you need the communication skills, critical thinking, and all the skills also you can take the courses from this platform. Then the main thing, everybody would be needing a CV and a LinkedIn account and all sort of things like that. So any course related to that is also available in this platform. Okay, I hope everybody is following me. Yes. So, what are the rest of the features in this IBM SkillsBuild platform? Already, as mentioned, we do have courses that you can do at your own pace. Whenever you have time, you can take up the course and complete it. There are different modules inside the courses. Okay, we use emerging technologies in that. You can learn about IBM Cloud, IBM Watson Studio, and lots of things inside this platform. Okay, and also you will get access to IBM Bob as well as IBM Watson. Sir, previously in the session was mentioning about IBM Bob as well as IBM Watson. So I hope everybody must have got an idea about that. Okay, and like today's session, you will be getting access to various other technical as well as non-technical sessions once you enroll into the platform. Okay, and already about digital credentials you have mentioned. So I think you all got a big idea about IBM SkillsBuild. Once you get into the platform and start using the platform, you will be understanding more about the platform. Okay. So without taking more time, I would ask everyone to start the registration process. So can everyone please scan the QR code? Thus, through this QR code, you will be directly going to the registration process and you will be directly going to a course that you have to complete as part of the session that you have attended. So can everybody please scan this and please put this link. Yeah. I hope everybody is able to scan this. Few of you must have already heard about IBM SkillsBuild and few of must already have enrolled inside that. So yeah, once you scan the QR code, please let me know if you're facing any difficulty in scanning the QR code or clicking on the link. I hope everybody is doing with me. So once you scan the QR code or you click on the link, you will be getting a page like this. In that page, this is the mobile phone thing. So when you reach this page, you can click on sign with Google. And after clicking on sign with Google, you can choose an active Google account that you use frequently so that you can receive all the mails and everything. I hope everybody is with me. After clicking on the Google account, you will be next getting a page like this where you have to click on continue. And in the next page, you have to choose your country, that is India, and continue again. This is the same QR code. If anybody is still left to scan it, you can scan it now. And after clicking that lots of continues, you will be reaching a page where you will have to set up your profile in which you will be having to fill your basic details. So please make sure that you're filling your names correctly, that like the same thing that you want to come in your certificate. Please let me know if you have any doubts or clarifications or if you're finding any difficulty in getting into the platform. So in the location, whichever state you are joining from, you have to give that state. After that, you have to check mark the terms and conditions which is required, and there is an additional information that is optional. For now, let's just click on the terms and conditions, and then you have to click on submit. I hope nobody is stuck there. Yeah, I hope everybody is with me and have registered into the platform and did fill all the details. I see lots of raised hands. Make sure if you already have an account, you can skip this step, but scan this so that you can directly go to the learning plan. So I hope everybody have reached this step. And after clicking on, checking all these terms and conditions, you will be getting a page like this in which you have to choose go to SkillsBuild. Okay. Is everybody with me? Can you give me some thumbs up so that we can move forward? Yeah, there are lots of thumbs up. Great. So I hope nobody is facing any difficulty while doing the registration. Yeah. So once you have clicked on go to SkillsBuild, you will be directly going to a page like this because you scanned in through the learning plan link itself. Okay. So congratulations, you have created your IBM SkillsBuild account through which, as already explained, you can get access to n number of courses. Okay. Yeah. You can get access to a number of courses and other benefits as already mentioned. Yeah, I see nobody has any issue in registering only with attendance. So great. So once you have got this page, you have to click on enroll. After enrolling, you will have to complete these courses to get the certificate of completion of today's session. So I hope that is clear. We will reach this page, click on enroll, and then you will have to complete these courses, emerging tech as well as career management. And once you complete that, you will be receiving a certificate like this. World Youth Skills Day 2026. That is today's certificate you will be receiving once you complete this learning plan. I think all good. And there is no doubts regarding this. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Great. And as few of the chats were there, you already have enrolled, but still do scan this so that you can go to this learning plan and complete the course and obtain the certificate, which you can use in your LinkedIn and CV, etc. And yes, this is your attendance form. Everybody please scan this, and also you will receive the link in the chat box. Everybody please make sure that you are marking your attendance because it is important. So other than attendance, there is no other doubt, right? Before leaving, please do mark your attendance because it is very important and fill in the dates exactly the same details. You can either scan this QR code or click on the link that is provided in the chat box. So here we are talking about IBM SkillsBuild platform. Does anyone have any doubt regarding IBM SkillsBuild platform and registration? Yeah, sure, I can do that. What's your code? Oh, I didn't get you. Thank you. So I'll just do a small demo on how to download the certificate. So for people who are not able to complete you cannot complete this is a 10-hour course, so it will take time. You complete the course so that the session that today you attended would be useful for you. You have to apply for jobs. So I saw some queries regarding how to download the certificate. Yeah. So to download the certificate, after you complete the course and it comes into 100% after completion of 2 of the courses, here again you can find the actions, and वहाँ पे if you click, you can see view completion certificate option. That's it. You just have to just go back and complete your course. Then click on actions, and from there you can find view completion certificate, and you will get the certificate. Cool. No other doubt, I hope. There is no project submission for today's session. Do you need to repeat regarding downloading the certificate of completion? Yeah. So basically, you just have to go back to this page. And here, once you complete 2 of the task and it is 100% complete, you can click on actions here. And from this actions, you have to click on view completion certificate. And from there, you can print it and keep and save it as PDF and keep with you. Yeah, that's it. If you complete this course, you will be able to upload it into your LinkedIn as well as CVs. And that would actually be a extra point to your CV. Okay, great. I hope everybody marked your attendance and you don't have any other doubts. I hope there is no other doubts. So basically in this course, there is no project. So there is no project submission also. After getting your certificate, you can download it and keep and then upload it into your LinkedIn, or you can upload it into your and add it into your CV. And for this course, so the completion of digital learning deadline would be on 19th July. Till by 19th July, you have to complete the course and keep. Um, okay, so the course completion you can do by 19th of July. That's it. I hope everybody has marked your attendance. Does anyone have any doubt regarding today's session? You can ask in the chat box. It is good for you to complete today's modules, and the last date would be 19th July. Yes. PWST is basically it's person with disabilities. If you can mark yes or no in that. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. I hope you will make best use of the platform. It is necessary to enroll because this platform provides you a n number of advantages. So, yes. Okay, great. So I hope everybody enjoyed the session and it was beneficial for everyone here. Thank you so much for joining and try to keep using IBM SkillsBuild platform. Thank you.